Hi everybody. In this session we're going to talk about and demonstrate the diatonic triad chords again, but we're going to add the concept of how these chords and their notes can be shifted around using triad inversions. We're also going to discuss slash chords. What are they and how they are used? So let's talk about the inversions first. Let's do a quick review of the diatonic triads. We talked about these in Module 3. And you remember that a chord happens when more than one note is played at the same time. So looking back at our chart here, our scales and triads, you'll see that a triad chord has 3 pitches in it. Here, like for example, on the C chord, you have the C, the E, and the G. All right? So those are the first, third, and the fifth steps of the scale played together. So now let's look at the chord triad inversions in the C scale. Let's start with a C or the 1 chord. Remember on our chart here how we number our diatonic triads as they go up? 1, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4, 5, 6 minor, 7 diminished, and then the octave. Okay? So you'll remember that when we play a triad with the root on the bottom, we play a C chord with the C, then up to the E, and then add the 5th note, the G. Okay? So since you have 3 notes that you use to make up a C chord, you can also use these same 3 notes in a different order instead of 1, 3, 5. So let's try that. Let's put the E on the bottom and check that out. Now let's look at another page here. Here's a page of inversions. Okay, here's our root position, like our root position right over here on this other page. The 1, 3, and 5. Remember, that's called root position. So, since you have 3 notes in that chord, you can also use these same 3 notes in a different order. So, let's put the E on the bottom instead of the C. Okay, so here we have C, E, and G right here. Okay, now let's take that E note and put it on the bottom, and then play the G above it, and then the C above that. So we've just created a C chord in first inversion. Okay, these become super helpful, whether you're a keyboardist, guitarist, bassist even, anything that plays multiple pitches. So now let's make a chord again, a C chord, but this time let's start with the G on the bottom, and then add the C above the G, and finally add the E on top. So here we go. Here's our G. Right here is we're working on our second inversion. Then the C above that, and then the E above that. So when we play the C chord in this order, we have just played a C chord in second inversion. So here's root position again. Over here to the left, that's with the C on the bottom. Then first inversion is the E on the bottom. And then you do the G on the bottom. And you have this kind of sound. Those are all C chords. They're just different inversions. So these inversions become super important when we start working on arranging vocal parts. You'll find that you'll be using inversions constantly. You'll use them so much that you'll just get to the point that you don't even have to think about what inversion you're using. You'll just do it as it becomes second nature to you. How cool is that? So look forward to that. That's going to be great. The inversions are also very important to all you instrumentalists out there. Like when you accompany yourself or others in the band. If you're already playing in a band as a guitarist, a bassist, keyboardist, you're probably already using lots of inversions. Maybe you just didn't know they were called that. So now that we've done the inversions for the C or the 1 chord, in the C scale. Let's try the inversions for the D minor, the second step in the C scale. So going back to our original chart of our diatonic scales, here's the second step. Remember, that's a 2 minor, and in the key of C, that is a D minor. So let's come back over here now. So here's our D minor, right? Okay. So you'll remember that when we play a triad with the root on the bottom, starting on the second step, we play a D minor chord with the D, and then the F, and then you add the fifth note, the A. Okay, so now let's make a first inversion. Let's put the F on the bottom, and then add the A to it, and then finally add the upper D to make our D minor chord. So here we go again. We've got a D minor chord in first inversion. Now let's make our second inversion. Let's start with the A on the bottom. Right here, here's our A. And then we add the D above that. And finally add the F on top of everything. So when we play this D minor chord in this particular order, we now have a D minor chord in second inversion. So, and let me put a little sustain pedal here. So you can see how just playing inversions and varying that with rhythm and stuff can actually start creating a musical mood. Way different than if you were just stuck with root position all the time. Just starts giving you more variety. You start hearing musical ideas. Okay, so for some homework this week, I'd like you to practice all 7 of the diatonic chords and their inversions. Root position, first inversion, second inversion. So remember, you can go back to our chart here. We're just basically using all the diatonic chords in the key of C. C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, and C. So here we go. Let's come down here a little bit. Let's look at the G. Okay, so G, here we go. Here's root position, and it's G, B, and D. Okay, that's root position. And then first inversion, we would just take the B and put it on the bottom, and then the D above that, and the G. And then second version, we do the D on top, on the bottom, add the G, and then the B. So you'd have okay, so practice all 7 of those. Let me do just some real quickly for you here. Okay, so we got the C. In fact, let me move this over a little bit so you can see both pages. Here we go. So we're doing all these 7 diatonic chords. Okay, so here we go. C, root position. Okay, that's root, first and second inversion, D minor, first inversion, second inversion, first inversion. Okay, I'm just adding the left hand because I like just that extra bottom end down there. So here we go, E minor. And G. Move our page down a little. And then A minor. Remember, this is the 6 minor, like over here on this page. And now the B diminished. So you'll notice that those inversions can repeat and happen all over the entire keyboard, For example, let's start here with a C down kind of low. First inversion, second inversion. Now back to root position. First inversion, second inversion. Root position. First inversion, second inversion. Root position again. And then you can come down. Okay, so let's play those inversions again for those seven steps in the C scale. And when the chords start getting really high, let's take them down an octave. So watch what happens when I get to the F chord or the fourth step in the key of C. All right, so here we go. They're on this page here. Here's root position. And then D minor. E minor. Now, instead of going to the F, let's take it down an octave. It's getting a little high. So here is the F down an octave. This low note right here is an F and then an A and a C. So the top note right here is middle C. So on the keyboard, we go F below middle C, right here, and then the A above that and the C above that. So that is root position F. And let's come down. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, let's stay down. So now our G is down low too. So instead of up here, let's take it down an octave, get it nice and rich and warm down here. So we have G. Remember the tonic is on the bottom in root position. So G, B, D. First inversion, second inversion. And let's stay down there with the A minor. 6 minor here, A minor. And now finally the B diminished. And let's just end on a C. All right, very good. Now let's talk about a term. I know I haven't used this yet. It's called open voicing. And so far, all our chords and our triads have been in a tight, close voicing. The triads where all 3 notes are contained in the same octave, like our C or our E inversion. Even our second inversion, you could think of that as all contained within an octave of notes. But you can still have the same chord when you use the same 3 notes, for example, in a C chord, C, E, and G, but you spread the notes out across the keyboard. You could even do this on your guitar or whatever, but let's use the piano for an example. So let's try that. Here, my 3 notes in C are C, E, and G. Well, let's use a C down below, and then a G above that, and an E above that, and you get this kind of sound. It's a very nice, rich, warm, almost very classical. And if you applied this voicing to a string section, it'd be a really nice, warm string sound. So technically what I've done is I've created the chord, but I've stretched it over, for sure, more than a triad, because here would be a triad. I've got it over the span of a tenth. This is called a tenth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have an open voiced C chord, and it's spread out over a range. This is a range of a tenth from the lowest to the highest. And you could do that on all your diatonic chords. This is a C. You could do it on your D minor. See how nice that sound is. E minor, F, G, and for the next one, let's take it down an octave. And let's go A, and then the E, and then the C. And then the B diminished, It's not a very pretty sound, but it does get used. Okay. So with this open voicing, some of your notes in your some of the notes in your chord can get doubled also. So let's try something like, let's do a C again, and I'm going to play a C and a G in my left hand, right here, kind of nice and low, and then in my right hand I'm going to play the G, C, and the E. So listen to how this sounds. So what is this? I've got a low C just for the root, because it's on my chart. Let's say, for example, on my chart it says play a C chord. So I know this is going to be in the bottom. And then just to kind of give it some texture, some more fullness, I add the G to it. And in the right hand, I double the G. And I know I want this voicing here. I'm actually using a C second inversion in my right hand. So here's the C, root, first inversion, second inversion. I love how this sounds with that E on top. Gives it a nice, full, positive, pretty sound. And then I just use this open fifth down low to give it real body and texture. So let's play that together. Okay. So now let's close our session with a discussion of slash chords. What is a slash chord? As a keyboardist, when I'm playing a song with the band using chords, I will usually add a lower root note played with my left hand to fill out the sound and give the chords a richer, fuller sound, just like I did in that previous example with the open voicings. Okay, so I play a root or inversion of the triad with my right hand, and then I add a low note with my left hand like this. On this page here, let's just look at this top stave, this top line. And in music, a line like this, a technical term for it is a staff or a stave. This is a single stave, S-T-A-V-E. So let's look at just the chords on this page. Okay, so I'm gonna play what's written here, and just with my left hand, I'll just add the roots of the chords I see. I'll add a C and then an F and a G. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so my left hand, I just follow the chords C, F, G, C. And you'll notice I used some inversions for my C chord. This chord right here, this first one, is a C in second inversion. I have the G on the bottom. Okay, but look at this one. The one I end with is a C in root position. And I kind of did that just to give a little bit of contour, music contour to this line. And so that let's say this was the end of the song right here, it would end with a nice, firm, consonant kind of sound. Okay, so let's play it again with that in mind. Watch my second inversion here. Now the F is first inversion because it has the A on the bottom. Now the G is also first inversion because it has the B on the bottom. And then I end up with a C in root position. So let me play those chords without the left hand so you can hear that a little clearer. So here we go, 3, 4. Okay, now it's early on, but this is leading towards the concept of, especially for us keyboardists, when we're comping, in other words, that's a slang term for accompanying back behind a vocalist or whatever. We're comping behind somebody. Smooth voice leadings and non-extreme changes in your voice patterns really helps give your music a really nice, rich texture, really smooth texture. So listen to those once again with that in mind. You notice I'm not moving my fingers very much. This time watch the keyboard. 3, 4. So So that whole pattern stays within an octave, and it only, just mainly jumps up towards the end of the phrase. So one more time. Okay, now let's add the left hand again for the kind of the rich. Okay, here we come. 3, 4. So in that first stave example, the lower note that I play with my left hand, once again, is determined by the chord name that I see on the page. So if I see C, F, G, C as the chords in the song, that will be the notes that are played down in the lower range, since these notes are the root of each chord. Okay, so here's my left hand only one more time for this top stave right here. Okay, 3, 4. Okay, so go C, F, G, C, and I'm just adding a little bit of rhythm in there. So, but check this out. Look at the second stave. What if the page, or what if the chart says C, F over C, F/C, G/B, C? We're starting to look at some of these slash chords. So in this case, I would play the C, F, G, C triads in my right hand, but in the bass, I would play C, C, B, C with my left hand. So let's try that. Okay, so here we go. 3, 4. Okay, you notice my right hand in this second stave is exactly the same as the first stave. What makes the big difference, though, is my bass notes. The bass notes that happen, and these are called slash chords. F over C is kind of a little more of a technical way to refer to that. So if you're in a band, you might call out the chords. You would go C, F over C, G over B, C. So let's play it with the bass notes one more time. Here we come. 3, 4. Okay, so here's just my left hand. Okay, 3, 4. So I'm playing C right here for these two beats, staying on the C, because I have an F triad over a C bass note. And then right here I'm playing a G triad, but instead of a G note for the root, I'm playing the slash chord part of it. I'm playing the B. And then everything comes back normal on the last C. So let's play it one more time and listen for how the bass especially stays constant right here, and then how it moves a little bit right here. Okay, here we go. 3, 4. So this is what the bass player in the band would play too. For myself as a keyboardist, I would usually double the bass player on this bass line with the altered slash chords, or even like in stave 1, I would play C, F, G, C, and the bass player is going to be playing a version of that also. So as you can hear, this alternate bass line that happens here in the second example, it doesn't intentionally play the root of the chords, and it gives the music a really different sound. I'll play these together. And remember, the chords in my right hand are exactly the same. The only thing that's changing is my left hand, or the bass guitar, the harmonic structure of the song. So let's start here on right at the top. 3, 4. Did you notice how it had a different texture? That second line had just a whole different feel to it. This type of alternate or slash chord bass line can be used very effectively in music. You hear this type of sound in all kinds of music, all the time. So be on the listen for that. Be on the watch out for that. Start listening for those kind of different non-root bass notes in the music you listen to. So what about the last example on our page? Check that out. The third stave down. We have C over G, F over A, C over E, and then F. In this example, 3 of the chords are actually slash chords. The name slash chords can also be referred to as chords with an alternate bass. And that's probably more of a typical music theory term for those type of chords. So let's play that. Okay, so we have the C over G. And you notice, there's one little chord change different right here. Instead of a G, we're going to a C. So let's check this out. C over G. See, I have a C triad, second inversion, but I have a G bass note down below. Now we play F in the right hand and A in the bass. Now here's a wild one. You play the C, and it's in root position, and instead of the C, you play the E, and then you end on an F, nice solid F. So let's play those together without, let's just play them together. Here we come. 3, 4. Let me play those through a couple times. 3, 4. Okay, cool. We'll be talking about and using a lot more of the slash chords in future sessions, but I hope you can see how effective these can be to add mood, feel, drama, or intensity to your music. So that's all for this session. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you have any questions, please email me at smittypricemusic@gmail.com. Thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye-bye.